Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Ikinari Anata Koishiteiru. Let's continue exactly where we left off, where Shushi and Delinquente, they really shouldn't give him a name, we're in for the fright of their lives, until Ryu decided to spill the beans and tell them it was all just a hoax. So, let's continue. On to Mystery 2. I can hardly muster up any energy. My legs are also heavy. I never imagined that things would turn out like this.
Chuji, pull yourself together. We haven't solved all the mysteries yet. It's too early to get tired.
I don't want to hear that from you.
That ended up well, didn't it? There were no ghosts, and more importantly, nobody suspicious. That's one less thing to worry about, so shouldn't you be happy about that?
You knew about it from the very start, didn't you? Oh well, she was right. We were here to investigate if there was any suspicious people around. I should be glad that's how the case ended. Now what? We have 3 more ruined spots to investigate, so let's get to the next one.
Oh my, so you've gotten less tense now.
After experiencing that, anyone would. Huh? What's that noise?
It's coming from the telephone. From the first floor, even. This noise, is it a telephone?
Who knows? Sounds like one. A red public telephone on the first floor was ringing. It was one of those rare kinds that still accepted 10 yen coins. Why is a public telephone ringing?
It sure is ringing. This is the second of the 4 mysteries.
What is it about? The phone kept on ringing. Dun 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 dun. Everyone's faces tensed up as they watched that terribly noisy phone ringing, except for one person.
Hello? Is there anything you need?
She picked it up.
Huh? You're in front of the cigarette shop right now. Let's see. Well, just go straight in ahead from there.
Wait, why are you hanging up already?
Because the other side hung up already. She said something about being in front of the cigarette shop.
That's the phone call from Mary-san.
Oh, the caller said something like that. It seems like a foreigner's name.
And why did you start guiding her to her school?
I thought she may be lost or something.
And how would a ghost get lost if it really was from Mary-san?
What would happen next in the rumor if it was her? She would call soon again.
Sure enough, like a response to Aika's words, the phone rang again. What are we going to do? Can we just not pick up the phone?
I'll pick it up.
Wait, why do you have to pick it up? Why can't we just let it be?
Who are you? I see, huh? You're at the gate already? Oh, she hung up.
Hey, what do you mean she's at the gate already? Do we have anything to defend ourselves?
Well, I could think of a bunch. Mary-san might get tired from climbing halfway if we're in some tall apartment or something.
Unfortunately, our school isn't a tall apartment. Neither is it tall enough to get Mary-san tired from climbing the stairs.
That's what I said. We should have just pretended not to hear the ringing.
If you did that, I would have to open the message log. If you did that, it said that she'd always be following behind you.
Creepy. There we go. Don't mind me.
Can't we just pass by her?
Pass by her?
I heard that if you just pass by her, Mary-san would leave you alone. Then she'd call you again several years later from somewhere in Russia.
When she gets close to you, she'll be really far away, huh? That sounds like she'll be some kind of meteor or something.
At any rate, the next phone call should say, "It's me, Mary, and I'm right behind you now." The person who picks up the call would have to pass by Mary-san without looking eye to eye with her. After that, things would be fine.
So who's gonna do it? Without a hint of mercy, the phone rang again. Ryu gently picked up the receiver. Ryu, you...
Here, you take the call.
I knew it. We all knew it, didn't we? What? She then proceeded to pass the receiver into my hand. Hey! I called out to the caller at the other side of the receiver. The voice from the other side was quite difficult to understand, but I could somehow form words from it.
It's me, Mary, and I'm right behind you.
This is bad. Mary-san's already right behind me. The subject of one of the ghost stories in the school. Mary-san.
It's me.
Mary, and I'm right behind you.
I heard that voice from the telephone again.
It's Mary, and I'm right behind you.
The third time that voice appeared, I noticed the change in the voice. Instead of coming from the receiver, the voice behind me was getting louder and louder. It was as if Mary-san was truly right behind me. The faint whisper of Mary-san fleeted into my ear. It was then that I had remembered. Wasn't the story of Mary about a discarded skull-shaped doll calling through the phone? First she was thrown away into the dustbin, then in front of the cigarette shop, finally in front of a gate. When the gate was opened, no one was there. When the person thought that it might be just a prank by some kid, the final phone call rang and it recited those infamous words. If that was true, the voice of Mary-san should be a girl's. After all, a girl's doll equipped with an out-of-character voice would be terribly weird. With that doubt in my mind, I listened to the voice once more, and the discomfort got even worse. That's because the voice through the phone wasn't the kind of voice a girl would make. Mary-san was a girl. And yet, the voice that entered my ears sounded like an old male foreigner. Curiosity killed the cat, and I turned to look behind me before realizing it, and once I looked straight at who it was behind me.
The hell? The hell? What the hell is going on?
It's me, Perry. I'm right behind you now. Please open up trade with us.
Huh?
Please open up trade with us.
Oh, it's Perry-sama from the Open Up Trade Bistro.
Please open up trade with us.
The fuck? What the actual fuck? I'm sorry, but what the hell is going on?
What's wrong, everyone?
Well, who's that guy?
Huh? It's Perry-sama from the Chinese restaurant nearby. He delivers meals often.
Open up trade.
But Perry-sama isn't familiar with Japanese, and he always forgets the roots too. He gets lost pretty easily. I've also ordered some for everyone else as well. You guys should be hungry after patrolling all over this while. Oh, Perry-sama, would you mind delivering the meals to the student council room?
Ah! What's going on?
Oops, he just spoke too fast, so I mistook Perry-san for Mary-san.
It's a common mistake. Once you heard it as Mary the first time, you would keep on hearing Perry as Mary every time.
Wow. Really?
You heard it as Mary all this time, didn't you?
I guess you have a point.
It's something called change blindness.
Change blindness?
Yes, it's a phenomenon where the first impression changes how one perceives things. It seems that there are many experiments in psychology about it.
Like what kind?
For example, if the hotel receptionist switched with another while you're busy checking and doing the paperwork, around half the people would not notice that the receptionist had changed. Basically, humans receive suggestions from what they see or hear first, and it is difficult for them to stray off from that. When Mary sounds like Perry, it's as a native speaker saying through the phone. Isn't it natural that one would mistake one for the other?
I see. So, since we had a strong impression of the name Mary, we didn't notice the difference between it and the name Perry. It's like we were already imprinted with the prior knowledge. It's true, I did believe I heard the name Mary through the receiver. I only realised that something was wrong after hearing the voice coming from behind me.
Do you always order takeaway from Open Up Trade Bistro, Sumugu?
Yes, I do.
I see, so the true identity of Mary-san in this school is actually Perry-san from Open Up Trade Bistro.
How should I say this? I'm a little disappointed.
That's how things work.
Hey, why are you eating my food again? That's my ramen!
It's your fault for being so slow. You're making the noodles too soggy.
This is was the freaking outfit! Like, this Four mysteries. Case 2. Mary-san's phone call. A mishearing case of Perry as Mary. Case closed. Oh my days. Oh my god. That's just retarded. Oh, I didn't expect something like that to happen twice. For some reason, I feel like the next case is going to be something as ridiculous as the last two.
I understand how you feel, but we've come this far. We have to continue investigating until the end. Stopping midway would just be throwing all of our previous efforts down the drain.
I guess you're right.
Now as for the next case.
What's the next case?
The next one is the giant mirror at the entrance way.
Giant mirror. Look at this little Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. The mirror at the entranceway? What kind of weird things happen there?
It's almost time as well. The next one is the facing mirrors.
Facing mirrors? Oh, you mean the kind that drags you away, or something when you face two mirrors at a particular time?
Yeah, but the one in our school is a little different. The commonly known ones are usually called the Curse of the Facing Mirrors. But in Yutaki, it's called the Oni of the Facing Mirrors, or the Mirror Facing Oni.
Oni being demon in Japanese.
The Mirror Facing Oni?
For the first time today, a gloomy expression appeared on Ryu's face. An Oni was a Japanese mythical beast from folklores. Some called it as a demon or a ghost. What's the matter? You totally didn't care about the previous cases.
Well, I'll be taking care of this myself.
Why? Ryu ignored my question entirely, then stood in front of the mirror.
Can I use any sort of mirror to face that big mirror? Yes, any mirror that can face this mirror should work. The key is the time.
It goes without saying that the time must either be something along the lines of 000 or 444, and since Ica said that it was almost time, is the time exactly 000? Midnight. Just keep saying 000.
Yes.
Ryu brought out a small mirror from her pocket. I'd never seen her look this serious. What's wrong? Why are you acting so differently from earlier?
That's true. Well, it'd probably be fine. I just have a bad feeling about this one.
A bad feeling. A strangely serious expression on Ryu's face. One that I've never seen since that day.
Oi, is it really going to be alright, Ryu?
I'm just a little concerned about the word Oni from earlier, but I'm sure it's going to be one of those mysteries with a silly explanation behind it again.
You're concerned about why it's called an Oni?
Well, the word facing, if my guess is correct, this case might go terribly wrong if it's not handled properly.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Do you know the origins of the game of tag?
The origins of the game of tag?
It's originally derived from theatrical stories, about the Oni. Theatrical stories about the Oni? Like the kind with no children, where the Oni is the main character, right? They're also known as Oni plays. Yes, an Oni play. In other words, playing as an Oni. The game of tag between children is an imitation of how the Oni would act.
Wait, so what are you trying to do?
It's almost exactly 000. I see. Squat down, everyone. It might get dangerous.
Dangerous? So you're...
Huh?
I rolled Ryu over a mirror, then faced it while standing in between it and the huge mirror. Basically, I was reflecting myself into the reflection in the other mirror.
Exactly 000.
Ah! For only an instant, I was surrounded in complete darkness. And maybe that wind had passed by and the fire from the candle had diminished. But in that brief instance, the darkness was literally devoid of any sign of light. Ha! Ha! Is it just me, or did it get a little dark? Nobody answered. I noticed that I can't see things properly. The hallway was getting darker. It was as if all the other candles had been extinguished. The candle I was holding remained lit, but every other light source, including the moonlight shining in from the outside, had vanished completely. I was inside the school campus in the middle of the darkness. It's kind of dark. Can you guys turn on the lights? Again, nobody answered. My surroundings, which had been so lively just a little while ago, were now dead silent. It was void of any sign of life.
Anyone?
I reached my hand out to try and search for the rest of them within the darkness, but I couldn't find anyone. Does this mean I got sucked into the mirror just like in the rumours? Cold sweat began to flow down my cheeks. and the wind sure is cold. Who's that? A voice was coming from further down the hallway. I headed towards that direction. There was something down there, no doubt about it. It was down the hallway and it was closing in on me. It was a voice that was crisp and clear, unlike Perry Sound's case earlier. A voice that induced an instinctive warning of danger. A voice that cannot belong to a human. My instincts were telling me, run away from this voice. So I started running. I dashed down the hallway as quickly as I can, then rushed up onto the stairs. Sorry, bad grammar just throws me. However, those things arrived at the upper level without even going through the stairs. It was as if they had ascended via an invisible staircase, freely passing through the walls and floors. You've got to be kidding me! I thought I saw girls wearing kimonos amidst the darkness. One kimono had grown terribly dull in colour. Another kimono had colours so vivid it was creepy. But what exactly were they? I couldn't take a closer look to tell. All I can do right now is keep on running. I couldn't see their appearances, but I could faintly hear their voices. They were trying to catch me. I was sure of hearing that at least, despite the increase in my blood pressure and my noisy heartbeat. Yes, I understood ever since that moment. The moment when the whole school building sunk into darkness. Calm down, I told myself, trying to make myself settle down. They weren't very quick, but apparently they were bound by walls, floors, or even gravity, and they didn't feel fatigued. Just calm down and think. Did I get captured in the huge mirror? If that's true, things would be a little weird. Assuming that I was already captured, they would have no reason to come chase after me. It should have been the end for me. But judging from this situation, it didn't seem like things were all over yet. Come on now, remember! What did Ryu say? Ryu had said this. This case might go terribly wrong if not handled properly. So if I had handled it properly, I might be able to escape from here.
Mirror facing Oni.
Those words made Ryu's expression stiffened up like never before. Just by the mention of the mirror facing Oni. Mirror facing Oni.
Well, the word facing, if my guess is correct, this case might go terribly wrong if it's not handled properly. Do you know the origins of the game tag? It originally derived from theatrical stories about the Oni. Yes, an Oni play. In other words, playing as an Oni, the game of tag between children, is merely an imitation of how the Oni would act.
I recall what Ryu said, and I traced through our thought process. A family operates a shrine, so our knowledge on the field was rich. It may be that there was an answer within this world. The mirror-facing Oni. Ryu is probably not thinking about that word as the title of one of the 4 mysteries in this school, but something deeper than that. If not, she wouldn't be bringing up the origins of the game of tag. What was happening right now was exactly as Ryu described. Children imitating an Oni in a game of tag. If I get caught, I would become the Oni. The only difference was whether this was truly just a game or not. In that case, I could be certain that interpreting this situation as a game of tag was important. I remember a version of the game of tag that was rarely played in the cities nowadays. An old way of playing the game of tag. That was what sprung into my mind at that moment. As I stopped my footsteps and focused on my thoughts, the ghosts soon caught up with me and were almost in front of me now. Of course I couldn't see them. I also realised the kimono that I thought I'd seen earlier did not exist to begin with. I thought I heard the noise of the kimono brushing against each other. In fact, I just perceived them. One kimono that had grown terribly dull in colour, another kimono that had colours so vivid it's creepy. Those were merely noise. It was impossible for me to escape now. This was a theory that I thought up, but I believed it matched Ryu's thoughts. I squatted on the floor. Immediately, the ghosts stopped their teasing laughter. The countermeasure against the Oni in the game of tag, squatting. It was one of the many versions to play tag. Squat tag was a traditional one. There were many rules in the game of tag. In this version, if someone was going to be caught, they could squat down to prevent themselves from getting caught. The tone of the ghosts changed. I covered my ears and kept squatting. As time passed by, the voices of the ghosts echoed through the hallway.
Oh, what happened?
Oh! Whoa! What the hell? The mirror cracked all of a sudden!
As soon as their voices reached me, the world of darkness suddenly found light. I never knew that lighting from the moonlight alone could shed so much brightness in the school at midnight. And apparently, the thing that had happened to me took no longer than a second. I felt like the moon was hidden by the clouds for a split second, and then the mirror cracked. Basically, it seems like that long game of tag happened in a split second and only within my head.
Why did it crack?
But nobody touched it.
As I just stood on my feet blankly, Ryu came over to me with a worried look.
So you're alright?
Yeah, I guess. It was pretty scary. I was chased by something I couldn't see. They were like children, but at the same time they seemed really dangerous.
That's why you shouldn't be so reckless. You managed to come back even though you're an amateur.
It's because of the clue you gave me. Without that, I probably would have been running until I exhausted myself and got caught.
That's the true form of Noni. The word Oni originally derived from the word concealment. It is a being that you cannot see.
Alright, the description of the dictionary did start with an explanation like that.
In order to perceive an Oni, a certain ritual is needed. In this case, facing two mirrors against each other would be a ritual to face the Oni.
What's with that ritual? It sounds like a bad wordplay.
It's not a joke. A formless Oni is bound by nothing physically, but they are bound heavily by words. Which means they are bound by the significance of spoken words. Just like how our freedom is bound physically, their freedom is bound verbally, so each side would gain an overwhelming benefit from a face-off in their own territory.
So you mean Onis are not all bound... are all not bound by anything physical?
Not completely. Like how we're bound by words to a certain extent, they are too bound physically to a certain level. It's just a lesser one than us. That's why, if we opposed against them physically, we'd be defeated.
So that's why squatting would work.
I didn't think you would know about squatting against an Oni.
That's how the kids in your village play tag, right?
Indeed, but it's quite an obsolete way to play the game of tag now.
Nevertheless, the Oni of the mirror is still an Oni. They are bound by the rules of the children's games of tag that depict an imitation of themselves. So if I don't run away and remain squatting, they can't catch me. So in the end, they'll give up and go away.
That's right, you did well. To be honest, I was really lost on what to do when you faced the mirror.
You'll have to blame your personality for that.
My personality?
You would always play around when there was no danger. But when there's a threat, you would definitely shoulder all the risk by yourself.
You flatter me. I've just got interested in that phenomena.
I would be relieved if that was really the case. It's the first time I've seen you look that ever since we were kids, so I thought it was going to be dangerous for sure. Just like that time when you showed that serious expression, that terrible thing happened. Ryu shot a sulky glare at me.
What do you know? You think you could just see through anyone?
She didn't seem to be that displeased. In fact, she actually looked happy.
Why are you hitting me? You just thought that I look happy, didn't you? You got that wrong. Please correct it.
And just tell me that. Why are you using your fists?
Oops, it looks like you're not a yokai. I thought telling you through physical means would be much easier than with words.
Are you an idiot?
What's wrong, Chusey? You look kind of pale.
That's true, are you alright?
What's wrong? Got your wits scared out of you by a mirror cracking?
It's nothing. A strange phenomena that everyone else was unaware of. A strange phenomena that could even be described as my own delusion. That was this kind of strange phenomena that the mirror facing Oni was. 4 mysteries, case 3. Mystery of the facing mirrors. Facing the mirrors makes you face the Oni. Case closed? Who knows? And I'm going to end this episode here. This was actually a surprise. This case was actually a little bit more serious than the other two. That kind of makes me happy. It's nice to have a bit of seriousness. It's like touching end there. So if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. That'd certainly motivate me to make more. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time. Ta-da!